reprendre votre thérapie, d'aller en partie.
What's up, everyone, and welcome to NSFW, an after-hours podcast that gives it to you straight about the new world of business. This is actually an after-hours podcast because we just shot episode 4. This is like a little bonus feature.
We're going off.
We're going off.
We're going off the grid.
We're extra tired. We're extra punchy.
We're bushwhacking right now.
If you're listening to this at the office, pop in the headphones because this is not safe for work. So, this is a business podcast. I just really wanted an excuse to talk about CM Punk, how shitty he did at UFC. So I'll tie it in.
It's a good business decision.
A great business decision for him. He made ton of cash. But I'll tie it into kind of a business scenario, and we'll talk on that. So popular, I hear it all the time. I watch Shark Tank. A popular kind of business sentiment is out there is, oh, you don't be afraid to fail. Can't be afraid to fail. Go out there and try.
Not with my money.
Exactly. If I was an investor and it was up to two businesses, one guy who's not afraid to fail and one guy's that's staying up all night and petrified of losing his shirt, I'm going to invest in that guy. Ties into the everybody gets a trophy mentality of the world today. So my excuse to talk about CM Punk, just got his ass kicked in UFC 203. But he gave this inspirational speech at the end, and everyone's like, "Yeah, CM Punk, you got."
So I didn't see that. I didn't watch the fight live. I saw replays. I saw the fight. After the next day.
Okay.
But what did he say in the speech?
He's talking about how you can't be afraid to fail. Go out there and follow your dreams, no matter what.
I'm with him a little bit. But it was such a disappointing show.
The overall sentiment was, oh, you got to give him credit for trying, right? And I don't think you get the trophy for showing up. I think they say, like, as a man, a man's biggest fear is losing a fight and losing social status. That fight was the worst possible scenario that could have happened to him.
He got fucked up real good. Real good.
Worst scenario.
But what I think, we take it back to, like, bad business decision. I think the UFC made a bad business decision. Because, so they signed this guy to a 3-fight deal, and who the fuck wants to see him fight again? I don't think anybody wants to see him fight again.
They're saying he's money. They're saying he brought pay-per-view buys up through the roof, and rightfully so.
I think he probably did for that one, but do you think it's going to happen again?
Absolutely.
Really?
Yep. I give him credit. Anyone that makes it to the top echelon of their career
and then tries to do something
should be able to, should have leeway to do whatever they want. If you want to, try acting, yeah, you made it to the best of the best. Give it a shot.
I heard you mention it before, and I've only heard you say this, but is this in fact true that he trained 2 years of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and did not achieve his blue belt?
Well, they're saying, oh, CM Punk has no experience. He's a white belt, which is true, but he trained with Rufus Sport, which is like a top team, for 2 years. And I imagine that's all. He doesn't have a job, so he's doing that at least 8 hours a day. You train Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for 8 hours a day for 2 years. You're not really a white belt. You're coming in with some experience. It may not be in-ring experience.
Yeah, it should look a lot better than it looked.
Yeah,
that night.
He didn't really get to display anything, but he should have.
He just got fucking worked.
He should have known.
He just got worked.
He should have known better.
And he's a huge star, and everybody wanted to see him because they thought he was going to do good, and he fucking got worked.
I'm going to tune into the next one. No doubt about that. You hear that, Dana White? You got my cash. And it's not for the spectacle factor. Maybe it is, but I just like to be entertained. I like personalities. I think that adds so much more to the to the fight when you're invested in people.
Here's my question. What do you like? So if we're in the UFC offices right now, right? What do you think they thought? Were they like, this guy's gonna get fucked up and we're gonna make millions, or did they think that he actually had a shot?
I think it's in their best interest for him to win.
You think?
I think so. I think the fact that they signed him to a 3-year deal,
but I feel like we talk about the fact that he 2 years and he was only a white belt in jiu-jitsu. I feel like there had to be a moment somewhere in the course of these last 2 years to where they were like, wow, this guy fucking sucks.
Yeah.
And like, oh, wow, like he's really bad. Or did they know that in advance? Like, how did it even go? Like, was it like, I'm CM Punk and I want to fucking fight in the UFC?
Yeah, they say.
And Dana White was like, all right, fine, whatever.
Yeah, the UFC actually came to him.
Really?
Yeah. But one of the, bringing it back to business and marketing, you imagine UFC their biggest expense is like marketing these guys and creating these personas that you're
Yep.
invested in.
Yep.
And when they lose, that's millions and millions of dollars down the drain of like you branding this guy. And a lot of these fighters, they're always complaining, UFC doesn't pay much, blah blah blah. Like they're investing so much money in you and building your name that you can take
because
anywhere.
they don't have the recognition that some of these other sports have,
Oh, yeah.
to where they have to pump serious cash all the time into the branding and marketing because it's not yet a primetime sport.
Sure. Yeah, but I mean, these fighters, they don't they don't value the fact that they're now a name. You can go and throw a seminar somewhere and make $10,000 over a weekend. Whereas if UFC didn't put anything behind you and just paid you your paycheck, no one would come to your seminar because who the fuck are you?
Yeah, and there's so many guys. There's so many fighters that are on the roster that are those guys.
Yeah.
Like you have no idea who the hell they are. I mean, only like the really diehard MMA fans know a lot of these guys deep in the roster because they're not gonna fucking put the money behind these dudes because the talent's not there. I guess.
Yep. So I mean, not being afraid to fail. Should CM Punk come back? Should he get a trophy for coming back?
Let's just hit on not be afraid to fail
Okay.
independently for a second. I think that not being afraid to fail is important. I think it's actually essential, for being an entrepreneur and being in business. But like everything else in the world we live in, it becomes like this fucking buzzword type of thing to where it's like, oh yeah, you gotta fail. And like people wear T-shirts and all these, and all these things, and like it's like taken lightly. You know what I mean? I don't think in any level it should ever be taken lightly. When you fail, it really should be you tried your best and it didn't work out and you walk away from it learning something. It shouldn't be like, oh, well, failure's no big fucking deal, so I'm not going to take this seriously and I'm just going to kind of half-ass it. And I don't think that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone has that sentiment, but I think, I think the mentality, I think it's breeding weakness.
Well, I think fucking we're living in Pussy Nation.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah. So I'll bring it back. I'll bring it back to my wheelhouse, comic book nerddom.
All right. What do you got?
If you remember, was it Batman? What was the one with Bane?
The movie?
The movie.
Batman. Dark Knight Rises. Thanks, Corey.
Yeah.
Florence.
Very good. When he's trying to climb out of that well, the worst built prison in the world.
Okay.
His little mentor said, if you're not afraid to die, you're never going to have that little extra oomph in a fight. You got to be afraid to die in order to have that fear to drive you.
Yeah. I think, whoa.
Leave it to Christopher Nolan and Batman to bring.
Wait, so he's saying if you don't
So
the fear of dying is what is going to give you that stronger survival instinct?
Right, so Batman was like, I don't give a shit. I'm not scared of anything. Well, this guy was like, if you're not afraid to die, you're not going to approach it with trepidation. If you're afraid to die,
you're not going to take it as seriously.
Right.
You're not really going to zone in.
Right, you need that fear to drive you.
Yikes. I think that's true, but I kind of hate it because I'm always like, you can't be afraid, man. You got to lose the fear. But I mean, I guess there's a place for it,
Absolutely.
like everything else.
Absolutely.
I mean, I think you have to have a healthy respect. Like, I don't like the word fear, so I'm gonna try to push out of it. But I'll throw in. You have to have a healthy respect for the downside, because and I believe that in most everything that I do. And sometimes I'll have people say, "Well, you're negative," and but I think it's important to look at what could go wrong, and look at what's the worst case scenario. And then if you still have the balls and decide that you're going to do it, well, that means you really want to fucking do it, and you should. And you might fail and it might not work out, but at least you really looked at what could happen if this doesn't go the way that I'm planning.
So to wrap it up, don't not be afraid to fail. Respect failing and the
Fucking
consequences.
And don't be a pussy all your life.
See you next time.